Now there's
I'll,
a th
I'll just
go ahead, Hila.
I was just going to add to that we've really thought carefully about how AI applies into this craft of creating learning content. And one of the areas that we've really invested in is the control and the precision that anyone that creates content can apply here. So this is not, fire and forget. You put a prompt, the AI will create it for you. There's a lot of mechanisms that were built into the product at different layers and levels of creating a course, all the way from the outline of the course to, the individual components of the course, the simulation, the quizzes, everything that sort of comprises a learning module. And we've provided a lot of tools that allow the authors of this content to really fine tune and make sure that there's, no hallucinations and the AI is following, my exact instructions. In some cases, I don't even want the AI to use the general purpose LLMs, and I want to be very sort of prescriptive to what I'm asking, what are the sources. We're allowing the AI to, we're pointing the AI to very specific content. A lot of times we're not creating learning content from scratch, not sort of a blank page. There's existing content, there's, processes and PDFs and videos and things that have already created. And going back to what we talked about, which is the pace of change, you need to refresh this. Maybe there's some new procedures, some new things that are coming into the org. Doesn't mean that you have to start from scratch. So this has been designed, when I said at the beginning, this was not, an existing learning product that we bolted on some AI capabilities. This was really built from the ground up on AI. But Roni and the team has spent a lot of time thinking about how do we create that experience? How do we take the best of what AI has to offer, but we're contextualizing it and we're bringing this to the world of digital learning and creating learning content. And that makes that product pretty unique in the way that we have thought about these things. Because I think it's a very natural question. You asked us before about, some of the hesitation and kind of what was the reaction of some of the learning professionals. This is probably the most common question that we get, right, Lonnie? Like, how am I going to know that the AI is not going to, produce some, bad quality content for me? So this was very intentional to make sure that this content is not only great on the first run, but there is this ability to continue to really fine tune it to make sure you're getting the best outcome.
There's always this I think you're bringing up a really great point, which is there's this tension between kind of that personalization and scalability, or there has been, right? That usually in my world, the more personal you got, the worse it got. Right, and as you scaled that, it just got even worse, right? And a good marketing example is, if you wanna look a company up, you can look a company up and understand it does manufacturing, right? They have a little code next to their, DUNS number or whatever that tells you, they're in manufacturing. But as you drill down on that number, to see what kind of manufacturing they do, it gets worse and worse and less accurate, more the finer you go. How did you guys resolve that tension between kind of personalization and scalability?
First off, I have to say, I think we're constantly improving that. I think it's something that will work with us as we evolve constantly, and we'll continue to evolve and fine tune those mechanisms. The easiest solution is always that human in the loop that does some of the oversight. Um, and on top of that, we provide flexibility, I think, to the learners, where if they don't feel comfortable with one thing, then they can just switch to another. So if you start off on a video and it doesn't feel right to you, or it's too granular, you can go back and go to, let's say, the text mode if you're like your son and you prefer to read it. Um, so you don't have to choose. We provide you with the flexibility. I think that sets
sets the expectation where they should be at this point in time, and maybe makes the decision a little bit easier. Um, Eli, if you have anything to add on top of that.
Yeah, I would just say that in addition to the content itself, I think an element or dimension of personalization is also what we talked about before, which is the delivery in the moment that this is most relevant to me. So that's also an element of that, and that's kind of the approach that we're taking. And as I've mentioned before, there's a lot of information that we're able to leverage in terms of segmentation, knowing who you are, understanding where are you in your workflow, and that allows us to provide that level of personalization as well.